We have really transitioned from fall to winter here. A couple weeks ago, however, it was still dry and it was perfect for leaf bag season. This year we did a few hundred of them and did it in a fun way. We got some images of it and thought we would share. It starts by knowing when they're happening. So we looked up the schedule and got organized where we could take our electric car with the trailer, and in this case we put pallets on the side, which allowed us to pack in bags. You can see Juan here just jamming them right in there. This allowed us to get lots and lots on the trailer. We had to be just slightly ahead of the crews that were also picking up. They were friendly enough. They kind of wondered what we were up to, but hey, it's all good. And at the end, we were able to figure out a way to do just shy of 50 leaf bags per trailer load. You can see here I'm taking the effort to pack them down and in to compress so we can get one more load. I'm sure a lot of people were looking out their windows wondering what the heck are these guys up to. I wonder a little bit what the heck they're up to, raking up leaves and putting them in a bag. So we all have a lot of wondering to do, and that's great. Invested in a flexible heavy-duty net to keep everything secure, and with a ratchet strap and the back of the car loaded, we're ready to bring them back. 50 bags at a time. We did about 5 runs, and then some miscellany. Somewhere around 300 bags this season came into our landscape. We do a thing where we lay them out, and then as we dump them, we put the bags to dry in our firewood shed. We'll use those for shipping insulation later on. There was enough abundance of bags to be able to bring a full trailer load down to our field where we grow garlic and give them a nice top dressing of remineralizing and additional insulation. Here we're flaking them out in a light but thorough way rather than dumping them directly on, which would be suppressive to the growth of the garlic. This is kind of mimicking a really heavy leaf fall, and the garlic will respond with beautiful growth, and the soil will be a lot more insulated and protected with a slow, even feeding for the earthworms to take in during the winter and next spring. To me, it's a beautiful thing to bring all this diverse color out into the field in the fall, and we can do this on top of our hay or below. It doesn't really matter. We're just adding it in. We even brought some bags over to side dress some of our fall brassicas. I know it won't make a huge difference in the final growth of them at this stage in the year, but it will insulate the soil and allow some of these cabbages to finish off and feel a little bit more comfortable. And it's always a good time of year to feed the soil in a natural way. We brought most of them into the chicken yard. That's where we need the bulk of this carbon anyway. And this year we're using something that we are calling the leaf corral, which I'll talk about here. Just a few days before the leaf bag season began in earnest, went through and cleaned out this compost area in the chicken yard. We knew it was time to do it because the leaves in our chicken yard and the landscape were dropping beautifully. We started by taking some bags that we already had collected and dumped, so making a layer here by dumping some dried leaf bags next to the winter run and then integrating that layer by layer with nearly finished compost from where we wanted to deposit our new round of dried leaves. Lots of red wigglers in there, lots of life, and so this is a great way to inoculate the winter run with the life to consume things. Here our friend Chelsea is helping immensely by taking wheelbarrow loads of the compost from that area and dumping it by the winter run, and then I'm following up for each wheelbarrow load with about 2 bags of dried leaves. Very, very simple, informal ratios here for sure. We also needed to go through, before we started creating this leaf holding system, and dig a little ditch. This will allow the sump pump in the basement to drain the basement during the wet winter months. And so I wanted to do that before we established the leaf corral. Here Chelsea is using some 1/2-inch EMT conduit tubes that we bent with a homemade pipe bender. I'll link to that here. And it's very easy in soft soil to push these in, and this creates the framework for the corral in an easy way. We'll use these for low tunnels in the summer, but for now we can use them to hold in 100 plus bags of leaves. I'm going to use some old chicken wire to fill it in between, and that should be just enough to capture all the leaves and keep them well contained and decently well drained so they don't mat down for the winter months. Now we're ready to start filling that space in. And so we're dumping bags in, but we also put some compost rings in the middle to keep things open and allow air through the pile as it decomposes. And now we can dump very fast and furious. So each trailer load, we're just able to bring them in and dump them right on in there. The leaves are relatively dry, and we could put poly over this. We did on the north end anyway, to keep some of them really dry for the rest of the winter. The rest will let get rained on and hydrated and incorporate them into the chicken run as needed, the winter run. Here we've got this diversity of leaves with the compost rings in the middle to keep some air and openness. And then the snows began. And so just in time, we've got all of our leaves cached from the local community, our fertility and mineral, our aeration and carbon, all where it needs to be. And the little drainage ditch is doing the work that we're asking it to do, which is wonderful, keeping it out of the leaves and allowing things to freely drain as they need. The winter run is in full effect, with good hot compost happening on our ramp system, and tons of leaves to fold in to the food scraps to balance the carbon-nitrogen ratios, feed the soil, feed our hens, and feed ourselves later on. Thanks, leaves!